Welcome to the next part of my mini-series, Railroad Crossing Safety for Commercial Motor Vehicle Drivers. Now, I actually have a playlist of the rest of the parts of this series, so if you want to see them, you can go to my main channel and look under playlists and you'll see the rest of the episodes. But in this one, we're going to cover safety at wigwag crossings. And since this is likely going to be a short episode, I'm also going to cover railroad crossing safety when the train operates in the middle of the road, like this one in Grange, Kentucky. Now, since I don't live near any wigwag crossings, I'm going to be using footage from my train simulator, so bear with me. Here are some examples of wigwags in operation, used on my train simulator. Wigwags have a pendulum that swings back and forth. This pendulum usually has one red incandescent light on it. The frequency of the bell depends on the type of wigwag being used. On some wigwags, the pendulum strikes the bell, so every time it makes a full swing in one direction, the bell will ring. On others, there is a separate bell ringing mechanism, and those will ring a little bit faster than the old mechanisms that strike the bell with a pendulum. Here are some sound samples of some wigwags in use. Some wigwags will have a stop sign instead of a large red light. Sometimes the stop sign will have a small light on the bottom of it. This wigwag also has 6 red lights that flash interchangeably from right to left and then from left to right. Before wigwags, to let people know a train was coming, a flagman had to swing a red lantern back and forth manually. This device was created to do that automatically, so that they would no longer have to hire people to stand at the crossings to do this. Now, the main dangers you face with these types of crossing devices is that the lights, because these crossings are very old, are occasionally really dim, and as a result, it's really hard to see these lights during the daytime. Not only that, but the lights on these devices are often a lot smaller than the lights you would see on normal railroad crossing devices. So you got the fact that the lights don't quite light up during the day, coupled with the fact that they're a lot smaller than what most people are used to. For that reason, these crossing devices are actually deemed unsafe and are slowly being replaced with regular railroad crossing devices. However, in the meantime, you should still be aware of what these look like and what they mean. This wigwag in Delhi, Colorado is the last mainline wigwag left in service. However, there are plenty of other wigwags on local freight lines. So, don't be fooled, there are still quite a few of them left, though they are becoming more and more scarce by the year. So in short, be careful when crossing a wigwag railroad crossing. As always, open your windows to make sure you can listen for trains, and approach it at a slow enough speed that you can verify that the pendulum is swinging and that the light is actually on. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, sometimes the lights don't work on these, so be really careful when crossing these. And also, the overhead wigwags are not tall enough for a truck to fit under, so if you see one that's hanging over the road, do not cross under it, because you won't fit. After all, these were built before 13-foot 6-inch high trucks were even thought of, so they didn't exactly have that in mind when they designed these. Now we're going to talk about railroad crossings where the train operates in the middle of the street. I am going to use my train simulator to drive through a replica of the town of Grange, Kentucky, and I'm going to talk about a few things that I think you should know about these types of crossings after the video. Now, a few important things you should know about these types of crossings are that the trains are not governed by the same laws as the road vehicles. So here, you'll see that there's a 10 mile per hour speed limit sign, and a few feet away is a 25 mile per hour speed limit sign. The 25 mile per hour speed is for the cars, and the 10 mile per hour speed is for the trains. You'll also notice that I ran past several stop signs when going through this town. That's because the train is not required to stop at them. And you'll notice that I was driving on the right side of the road, but that isn't required either. It's actually possible for the train to travel down the road on the left side of the road in this town, and in other towns that are like this. And people have actually been hit by the train because of this. Probably because they expected it not to come from that way. Anyway, here's what the same town looks like traveling in the opposite direction. If you find yourself having to drive down a road like this, try to plan so that you're on the side of the road the train does not operate on. Make sure the road is wide enough that you and the train can fit without either of you colliding with each other. And if the train operates in the middle of the street instead of on the side of the road, like in this example, do not take that road because there will not be enough clearance for the train and you to drive down the road without colliding. Try to find a road that runs parallel to this one instead if you can. Well, that's all I have for this video. In the next part, I'm going to discuss risks the driver faces when you try to race them at a crossing, and reasons why you can't rely on them applying the emergency brakes.